Going on there, guys? Earthmaster here, checking in on this Wednesday evening, November 25th, 2020, 7:03 p.m. West Coast time, and Thanksgiving Day, Turkey Day tomorrow. Of course, we're not supposed to have, a family dinner, right? No family dinners allowed here in California. Supposed to be social distancing, all that good stuff. Yeah, right. Anyway, getting back to the earthquake information here. Pretty good sized earthquake south of Australia up here, 6.1. New Zealand. Pretty good sized earthquake there. This was kind of shallow. About 10 kilometers or so below the surface. Since then, we really haven't seen too much more plate movement or adjustment up here. We just had a 4.9 kind of over here in this area. Latest quake on the globe right there, but other than that, not a whole lot of adjustment or movement following that big 6.1 down there. A 5.7 off the coast of South America as well earlier today, and some activity, of course, to talk about along the west coast up here. As we will scoot into this map right now, you can see the latest information there from the USGS folks. Magnitude 2.5 and above, a little bit active out there. Midland, Texas, seeing a little bit of activity, or at least within the vicinity of Midland, Texas. A couple 3-pointers kicking off in the beautiful state of Texas. Some activity down here near Pecos as well. Of course, this region has been seeing some earthquake activity, which is not surprising. Little swarming going on up here northeast of Woodward in the other beautiful state, Oklahoma, one of my favorite chasing states for when it comes to weather. You can see a pretty good sized cluster of quakes out here in the close to the Panhandle. Not really, definitely not a Panhandle, but close. You can see a good it looks like about 12 or so earthquakes, mostly in the microquake range there. I think we've seen a 2.7 being the largest quake there in that sequence of earthquakes. And as far as what's going on out here, I mean, you can spot these well up in the air at 30,000 feet. All these little fracking pads, pretty much what I call them out there. You can see them clear as day. It's every single one of these little squares, that lead this little road that leads to the square, and we can zoom in. Most of these are probably old. Some of these may have some pumps and tanks on them still, but definitely a lot of activity out there when it comes to the fracking and whatnot. This earthquake activity looks to be pretty close within some areas of fracking. Right, you can see a couple pumping operations there. These are not farmhouses. These are not your grandma and grandpa's house back here in the boonies. These are pumping operations, if you will. And this is where all this earthquake activity is taking place, down there about 7 or 8 kilometers below the surface. Same for up here in this part of Oklahoma. You can see some fracking operations there within that vicinity as well. So yeah, definitely got some fracking quakes going on up there. Let's see here, what else we got going on. Shooting over here towards the Pacific Northwest and Yellowstone. We'll talk to Yellowstone. We'll talk to Yellowstone, right? We will discuss Yellowstone here in a little bit. They had some swarming going on earlier. Up here in the Montana region, some earthquakes there going on. And also up here in the Washington area, once again near Mount Rainier. Right smack dab, once again, some small quakes going on there at the summit of Mount Rainier in Washington. Just a small little microquake there. Nothing really going on through the Cascades here in Oregon. As well as Northern California. Pretty quiet up here in this part of the state. Down here in Southern Cal, quiet as well. Ridgecrest diminishing when it comes to their earthquake activity. Doesn't look like a whole lot going on there. Things quieting up rather nicely. Same for up there in Nevada as well. No swarming really to report. Just your typical small movement along a major plate boundary. To the west of that plate boundary, we have the San Jacinto fault system and other small spiderweb faults that build up and relieve stress here on the Pacific side of that plate boundary. Over here to the east, not a whole lot going on the North American plate. Zooming into the excuse me, Wyoming region, northwest Wyoming up here, Yellowstone National Park. You can see a little cluster of quakes there. USGS reporting about 10 earthquakes or so in this area. Most of these microquakes, but if you look at the Yellowstone seismographs here on this station or on this website that I like to watch all the time, you can see that good cluster, pretty intense cluster there for a little bit taking place. Every single one of these here being an earthquake, and I believe some of these could be some activity being picked up from Idaho. Even though not a whole lot of activity is taking place there, we did see a little larger one, a 3.7. That's probably what's showing up there on this on the majority of these stations there. Larger quakes outside of the vicinity do show up, and they do look like they are a distance away when looking at the graphs. So as far as like the those microquakes, these right here, all these little spikes are the microquakes. This one here looks like a little bit larger than a microquake, but this one here is the that Idaho earthquake. Since then, still seeing some small. What a great time to get hiccups, huh? I just had some. What I just had? Oh, I had some golden shrimp. Oh my gosh, those were good. Nothing like some shrimp on a cold night. Woohoo! Yeah, so some small spikes of an earthquake there popping off after this little swarm, but nothing big. Just still kind of keeping an eye on it. This is how some swarms do get started. They do fire off for a little bit, have a little quiet spell, and then kick back right up intensely. But we'll have to keep a visual on that and see if that does happen. Other than that, no strange readings, no magma movement, no abnormal activity showing up here on the Yellowstone National Park seismograph stations, which is good. Tremor along the Cascadia subduction zone is non-existent today. 7 o'clock, they should have. Yeah. Most of the time they update these maps here by 6 p.m. West Coast time. It's 7 p.m. here in California, so not showing any type of tremor along the Cascadia subduction zone. Last night, you can see that activity through Oregon and the border up there, Washington, but calming down, kind of dying out. And it looks like today, definitely not a whole lot of activity, if any. I mean, as far as today's deal goes, it's pretty quiet, unless for some reason they haven't updated it yet. But as of right now, no tremor in this date and time range. So yeah, Thanksgiving tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving to all the folks that do celebrate the holiday out there. A lot of stores closing, Walmart being one of them, which I think is good. That way the the employees can be at home with their families. I think it's a pretty important holiday, regardless of what's going on there with the pandemic. Take a look at the Puerto Rico area real quick. Haven't really covered that too much, but they're just continuously seeing a swarm out here, right around that region there, southwestern part of Puerto Rico there. See that, just a handful of twos. So other than that, I'm going to call it a night. I hope everyone has a good day tomorrow. I will try to jump on and do an update video. It's been sporadic, that's for sure, but I'm going to try to hopefully get back into the swing of things here on a regular schedule as time time and well, general activities in my life allow. So, alrighty, guys, have a good night. Let me zoom into Hawaii real quick here. I do tend to watch what's going on here very closely. You know, we did see a pretty good increase in earthquake activity out there around the Kilauea volcano, and indicative of, and of course, from the USGS, indicative of magma refilling the chambers there due to you know, GPS movements and whatnot. They keep an eye on inflation, deflation, but inflation appears to be happening there. A little bit of earthquake activity there following that line there. You can see that line leading up to Kilauea. Also some activity down here in the south as well, but yeah, just got to keep an eye on it, that's for sure. See what Mother Nature has in store for the beautiful island chain out there. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good night. Please stay safe out there, and we will chat you guys another time.